Welcome to our Olympic Weightlifting and Sports Performance series. This episode is about baseball. So baseball players love to neglect going to the weight room, but these are the best lifts that they can use to learn how to increase their power output, increase their leg strength, and increase their throwing capability on the baseball field. So behind the neck jerk in the split, this is one of my favorite variations to use for teaching athletes that are in unilateral sports how to develop force when they're in the split position. So we're gonna start with a grip that's right around a clean grip. Ideally, we're gonna have jerk boxes. So what jerk boxes do is it makes it a lot easier to load the bar on your back. It makes it a lot easier to lower the bar after you hit that split position. But Jake's gonna demonstrate today how we're gonna go from a clean, put it on his back, we're gonna establish that split position, and then he's gonna hit that jerk. Okay, so the bar's on his back. He's gonna move his grip out just slightly so it's a little bit wider than a clean grip. And then he's gonna think about 50% of his weight is coming forward, 50% of his weight is behind him, and his stance is gonna be as wide as his clean position or his clean catch or his front squat position. So when he catches a power jerk or when he's in a front squat position, that width is where it should be for his split jerk. So right now, put your right toe out just a little bit. There we go. Okay, so Jake's gonna be in that split position. He's gonna develop force. He's gonna drive up and get right back into that split. Good, and then lower. Two more. So the whole goal here is that Jake's driving tall with his hips in that split position and then lowering back, absorbing force. Eccentric load when he's in the split is also part of the movement. So he's not only developing force concentrically up while he's in that unilateral position, he's also lowering it eccentrically and absorbing force in that split position. It carries over tremendously to various sports that are going to be consistently in unilateral positions. So behind the neck jerk and split is an excellent variation to use for baseball, because in baseball, you're typically going to be throwing the ball or even batting in a unilateral position. So learning how to apply force, learning how to use those hips and learning how to use those legs from a unilateral split position is going to transfer directly into throwing power, into swinging power, rotational power, and even power when you turn and open those hips and start to, if you're working to run the bases, steal a base, anything along those lines. So utilizing behind the neck jerk when you recognize that your athletes might be struggling to use their hips, to use their legs while they're throwing, while they're pitching, or even getting out of their stance as a catcher, or even trying to steal a base. If you understand and recognize that your athletes need a little bit more pop out of those positions, behind the neck jerk is perfect to alleviate any of those issues. No feet clean. So let's go over what is a no feet clean, because oftentimes people are saying, what is no feet clean? That means I can't move my feet at all? What does that even mean? So what we like to do is we establish that nice simple pulling stance. Then when we establish a front squat position here, or the same position that you might be when you do a power jerk, that's where we're actually gonna put your feet to pull a no feet clean. What you end up doing is you pull in the front squat position. So you pull in the receiving position. So let me repeat for the third time. Put your feet in a front squat position when doing a no feet clean. So Jake's gonna put his feet in that front squat position. And if you watch as he pulls, his knees are gonna come back. The knees are gonna come back under the bar. He's gonna receive the bar without moving his feet out. His feet are going to stay connected to the ground for the entire pull. Let's see it, Jake. Good, two more. So his feet are not moving externally. They're holding the ground. They're still plantar flexing, but they're immediately getting right back to the heels. So because it's a no feet, as the knees clear back and then the knees come back under, you're gonna feel the ground very well. You're gonna stay connected with the ground, with the bar, and then you're gonna receive the bar very tight because you are going from plantar flexion to dorsiflexion rapidly. So you're gonna absorb that force much quicker, and you're gonna have much more connection with the bar throughout the entire lift. So the no feet clean is a great strength builder that can be used for any position on the baseball field, but specifically for catchers. So if you can think about staying connected to the ground as you accelerate that bar path, as you accelerate through that finish, That's going to teach any player on the field how to be explosive through an entire ankle, knee, hip extension position. So if they're jumping for a line drive or anything along those lines, it's going to transfer great. But as far as how it applies to a catcher is that the athlete will stay grounded, and then when they catch with those heels down, they're going to absorb that force in the hole, and they're going to hit that nice stretch reflex out of the hole, and they're going to be able to drive up fast with a large amount of weight. So the way that applies to the catcher's position is when they're down and they're catching in the actual crouch position, when they receive the ball, if somebody's stealing second base, they can then get out of that catcher position much faster and learn how to use force and use their hips more appropriately to pick somebody off out at second base, out at third base, or even at first base if somebody's got a big lead. So the no feet clean carries over to every single position on the field, but even more importantly, it carries over to what the catcher's doing out of that crouch position. Okay, power clean off of 2 boxes. So there's a couple things that we've got to establish first, and that our boxes are 6 inches. So what it would end up being is a power clean off of 12 inches of risers, 12 inches of bumpers, 12 inches of styrofoam boxes, 12 inches of anything that you can pull from. It doesn't matter what it is. We just happen to use 6-inch boxes that we stack on top of each other. So Jake's going to establish his clean stance with the 1 foot width apart. He's going to get his clean grip set. And if we notice, the bar is right at Jake's kneecap. So what we need to think about is what is the technical goal from this position. So with the kneecap being right here, we want the knees back over 90 degrees. So back just a hair more right there. Good. And we want him to think about loading his hamstring, loading his hamstrings and loading his lats when he's going to initiate his pull. So Jake's going to show us a power clean, then we're going to go over it. Go ahead, Jake. Good. 2 more. Good. So what we want to look for is if the bar is at 90, the knees are, or if the bar is at the kneecaps, the knees are back at 90. And then as the bar comes up, the knees will come under the bar. He'll hold his heels down. He'll make contact on his thighs. He'll finish with long plantar flexion. He'll meet the bar extremely fast and extremely tight with large tension so that he can absorb that force as appropriately as possible. This is a great lift if you're leading into a peak, or if you have somebody that might have some back problems, or if you have an athlete that struggles with meeting the bar and that bar that tends to crash on them. The power clean off of 2 boxes is a great movement. It's a shorter range of motion movement, and it's from an athletic position. So this is a great exercise for various reasons. It's important to see, based off of the height of the athlete, where that bar is when they're on 12 inches of risers, and you can discuss the technical aspect of what the knees are doing based off of that start position. The 2-box power clean is a great movement for any player on the baseball field because of the position of where you're pulling from. When that bar is elevated off 12 inches, we're pulling from a stance that's similar to if we're an infielder, similar to if we're an outfielder, similar even if we're a batter and we're in that quarter squat position. So when you're starting that pulling position, even start to think about when you're coming off the 2 boxes, are you a base runner? If you're a base runner and you're making a read on what's happening, how fast is the ball coming off the bat so that you can get to second base or third base, the 2-box clean is going to help you initiate force rapidly. So the faster that ball comes off the bat, the faster that you can react to get to second, to get to third base, and then ultimately score. So think about the 2-box power clean, not only for fielders, but also for base runners. And if you can excel with the 2-box power clean, ultimately you might be able to steal more bases, you might be able to track balls a little bit faster out in the outfield, and you might be able to get more people out because your reaction time is going to be so improved. So use these lifts to implement into your strength training program for baseball players, or if you're a baseball player, try and figure out how you can implement these into your own training. Go check out the rest of our Olympic Weightlifting and Sports Performance series on the YouTube channel, Garage Strength. Purchase our new Olympic Weightlifting and Sports Performance book at GarageStrength.com. Follow us on all social media at Garage Strength on Instagram. Again, our website's GarageStrength.com. Check out the Garage Strength Farm on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Garage Strength. Peace.